We'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have additions to the agenda?
Executive session.
This is the executive session. Okay. All right. I have no remarks, except I hope you're keeping dry, ladies and gentlemen. Open public comment for items not on the agenda. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Don't see any. Minute approval. April 15th, 2025. What is your pleasure, board? Jean?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the minutes of our regular meeting on Tuesday, April 15th as written.
Do we have a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No abstaining. Okay. Warrant.
I move that we approve payment of the following warrant, 21T accounts payable, $1,890,422.95, which includes the third installment of our school tax. 15S payroll, $11,621.58. 16S payroll, $8,098.78. And 17S payroll, $9,930.28.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. New business, museum, new garage doors and electric door openers. Heather, is that you?
Hello. No, it's not new garage doors. Just the electric and garage door new garage door openers.
Just the openers.
Just the openers.
Okay. New garage door. Okay.
So, part of the quote is for having electrical work done so they can be plugged in. And then there are 3 garage bays. And so, the proposal for the electrical work is for the 3 bays. And only 2 bays would have openers installed at this time.
Okay.
They are large doors. For some reason, there are, I don't know why, but there's no handle. And so they are a little bit difficult to open, and some people are not able to. And also, if you want to open them all the way, you usually need a stick or something to push them up higher. And it just adds a little bit of a safety because it's a rope pull down. Openers usually have that beam across the bottom, so if there's something obstructing, it stops and goes back up. So.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you do just all 3 doors?
We wanted to see how they work. I mean,
Okay,
and this, we don't have the money in this budget to do all 3.
yeah, okay. Just would think it would be nice to have all 3 done, but yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
But 2 would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Safe. Okay. Board, what is your pleasure? I'll speak at once.
We're really close to jumping into the next fiscal year. Do you have enough in the next one to, have him come back after July 1st? Or you wanna just still wait and see how two work out?
We would like to see how they work and yeah, so there's not enough in this.
Right, and I know you wanna use that before June 30th.
Right, and if, my other question would be if we're not able to get the contractors there before June 30th, would we be able to roll over the amount? It would be $2,975 if they weren't able to get there by June 30th.
Kathy?
But first you'd have to, yeah.
Yeah, usually they have to come to you and ask if they can roll it over before June 30th. And then if you approve it, it can be rolled over. That's usually how it works.
As long as there's a contract in place. As long as there's a contract already in place.
Yeah, and the money's used for that purpose.
Do you wanna just
Tie that into one
see how
motion.
time goes, or and come back if it looks like they're not gonna get here? And ask for it to be rolled over?
It seems like June knows it will come really fast.
And you don't wanna forget.
No, I don't want
Yeah.
to forget.
Okay,
So can we roll it over tonight in one motion to approve and roll over? Is that
If needed.
If
needed?
I think if you made the motion and did that, it probably would be okay, I would assume.
I think you can word it that way.
So Madam Chair, I move that we approve $2,975 from the Building and Repair Maintenance Fund for the garage doors for the Vernon historians, and for that money to be rolled over and used next fiscal year if necessary.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Got your door.
Thank you.
Parade permit for Vernon Homes Father's Day. Well, they did this last year, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's-
Cyclical.
2 years they've been doing
Yeah.
it, yeah.
I think the only thing to add is maybe notify the sheriffs that's happening, and maybe they can plug in that day and
That's a good idea.
Yeah, how far did they go down 142?
Pretty much they assembled at the Smith property,
Sweet.
Yeah, they got a little map on it,
Yeah.
yeah.
so they really are not 142 at all. Well, yes, they are,
Yep.
just in
From
front.
Stebbins to Greenway.
yeah, so that's the Greenways into the Vernon homes, right? The
Yeah.
person-
Yep.
Oh, they go around a couple times.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the parade permit application. For Father's Day? Yeah, for Father's Day parade.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, Jean?
Are we gonna add about notifying the sheriff's department or such?
Are you willing to
Just-
do
Yeah, I
that?
can do that, yeah. I'll
Okay,
reach out to Mark.
okay.
Can I just ask a question about that?
Yes.
So I thought the sheriffs were only 7 to 3:30, Monday through Friday. Is this a Sunday parade?
Saturday.
Saturday parade?
Saturday, 14th.
Is there gonna be an overlap, or does it matter if
So-
you contact the sheriffs?
They,
So my understanding is, oftentimes I see them off hours, and I asked about that in the past. My understanding is they get grants to cover off hours. So if they end up with this, like federal grant, they'll use some of that money to cover patrolling off hours in Vernon.
and the sheriff has also said that they intentionally flex their hours. So it's not always initially some people wanted them here 7 to 3 when the kids were in school, but that obviously doesn't work for all the situations here. So they do flex
Okay,
without warning.
gotcha.
Which is good.
Yes, that's what we
Yeah,
want.
they've been doing that a lot lately.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed lately that,
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You want to pass it back to Shelley, please? Okay, cemetery committee appointments. Yes,
I would like to speak to that, Madam Chair.
okay.
I feel at the last meeting that we probably did not follow proper procedure because the appointments were not on the agenda and they weren't added to the agenda. That being said, I would like any time that there are gonna be appointments to definitely be on the agenda so that if anybody else is interested in getting involved, they would have that chance. And also, there were people that were on that committee that did not resign. So I feel they're still on that committee. I mean, that's usually how it goes. When people have been appointed to committees, they are on them until they resign or the select board removes them. So I don't know what went on there. It just got a little strange. And we've also asked anybody that's interested in being on a committee to have submitted a letter to us, come and meet us, because we don't all know everybody. I did not know everybody on that list. So things kind of went out of protocol, I feel, at that meeting, and I would like to see it done correctly.
I'll take it.
So, that being said, I guess there are 7 people on that committee.
Mhm.
And I dug back through town reports and saw for many years, only 3 people listed and 4 vacancies, which not sure how they could meet because there wasn't a quorum, but so then I kept seeing it repeatedly, so I said, okay, it must be a 7-person committee. Because I just wasn't clear on what that was either. So we already have, well, the members that are on it is Mary Lynn Sherlin, Sandra Harris, Melissa Allen, Joyce Goodnow,
Rana?
and Brana. And nobody of that group has resigned their position. So there's 5 already that I would presume would carry on until they decided they didn't want to anymore. So it would appear that there's 2 open seats.
There are 7 on the committee now. I can't remember what it says.
Is that the people that were appointed
Yeah,
at the last meeting?
yeah.
But I feel that that was not done
so I never formally resigned.
legally.
I'm willing to if someone wants to step up and.
So, and
Part
then
of
there's
that,
your
but-
5, or 7, or whatever.
And the Secretary of State also supports the decision that the select board is the one that removes somebody or a person can resign. But a chair of a committee cannot voluntarily or involuntarily remove people with or without their notice. It's not their job, and that has been a violation, both for myself and for Joyce Goodnow. We did not resign, we didn't want to resign, we feel we're part of the committee, and we are supported by the Secretary of State when I called.
Very
So I'll be
good.
very clear.
One person has remained on the committee for a long time, Chris Howe. I went back through the few minutes that were posted last year, and she was not in attendance at any of those meetings. So I feel that that is probably a position that is open because nobody has been coming to fill that seat.
She did come by Zoom. I don't know what happened to the minutes.
I think she came to 2 meetings, Chris Howe did last year.
I think it was more than that, but yeah, she did kind of got her out of the house. I think that the people that are on the committee now and the people that are on the committee that weren't reappointed need to all meet together. And because there is no sense when you have people passionate about a project, they're all passionate about the project, there's no reason why they can't work together. If people don't like each other, take that problem, leave it in the car, and come to the meeting. That's just my personal opinion. Don't even get you a cup of coffee.
May I share the last 10 years of my experiences so far with this committee? So my mother died at the end of 2014. So 2015, kind of May, June-ish, can't remember the exact date, we were gonna have a memorial service at Tyler Cemetery. The grass was probably almost up to my knees on a regular basis because I started watching because I had an aunt and uncle that needed to get in and out, wheelchairs, this and that. Started speaking with Mary Lynn about it, and you would have thought either I was ignored, there was some sarcastic answer, some problem with the mowing, whatever it was. So it became kind of a struggle, but I just really wanted it mowed, or I was gonna get in there with a mower and get a strip mowed to the cemetery, to where we needed to be. Ultimately, it was mowed enough, we had no issues. But every year, it seemed for many years, there was always some issue. Then Tyler Cemetery's fence looked pretty bad for a very long time. So I asked Mary Lynn, what do we need to do to fix the cemetery? And this was at a time before I really understood how the committees work and how financing and everything work. And I was like, we can replace the wood, and Georgia and Joycey and Rita and I, we can go in and we can sand the wood down and paint it. And this was before it was destroyed, basically. And then when I had a suggestion, then I get ignored or it wouldn't be met with any response. Then I offered money to fix the fence, no response. So then I said, well, Mary Lynn, what do I need to do to affect change in the cemeteries? I enjoy the cemeteries. I would just like to be part of it. She said, go and ask the select board to join the cemetery committee. Happily, I came. Joycey got really excited while I was asking to join, and Joycey joined also. Every meeting last year was some kind of personal attack. It was probably the worst year of my life to join any committee I've never joined. It was terrible. We joined wrong, we went to the cemeteries wrong, everything we did was wrong. I'd be given a task, it'd be taken away from me at the next meeting. How dare I call Abiotti? She's had a 12 or 15 year relationship with them, she's gonna call Abiotti. I'm like, okay, just a refresher, you asked me to call Abiotti, I called a few times. It was one thing after another. All I wanted to do is facilitate change and see things happen, and it didn't happen unless I pushed, Brandon pushed, we had some vegetation work done. It wasn't a very pleasant experience on any level, and I probably upset Mary Lynn as much as she upset me. That's why I would just like to see things get done. But I don't think that the current cemetery committee is acting in the best interests of Vernon. I don't feel like it's a very kind place. I don't think that they really seek a lot of changes. And quite honestly, even last month's meeting, whether it was official or not official or whatever happened, it's always just kind of sketchy. It's always just kind of, we tried to figure out when the meeting was. It was all shady and shifty and couldn't tell us when and where and this and that. Then it's an unofficial meeting and then, so I just give up, Sandy. There is nothing there for the town of Vernon that is good, in my opinion, and maybe it's time to start fresh. I don't know. But to join at this time, I tried to join last year. I tried to be part of it and facilitate change, and nothing happened. So I really appreciate your thoughts, and I hope that everyone can have a kumbaya moment and come together. It just doesn't seem to be happening. And I'd like to do my half volunteer days, I have the 3 days planned, where we actually do things and get the community together to get them excited about the cemeteries, which is really what I like. That's what I wanted all along. But instead it's a personal attack, I joined wrong, I did this wrong, I violated open meeting law. Every single thing I did wrong, I called the Secretary of State, and you know what? I violated no laws, no regulations, nothing. So it was just a personal attack on me all year. So I don't know how to merge.
Are you willing to try one more time?
No,
Okay.
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't think that I don't think the regular cemetery committee acts in the best interest of Vernon, to be honest. I think they act.
Okay.
So you don't wanna be on the cemetery committee?
I would like to stay on to see that their meetings are run lawfully and ethically. I would like to stay on to see that that happens, and I'd like to see that, my suspicion is that while I asked for people to join the cemetery committee last year, they were denied, and I feel like they were denied so Mary Lynn could keep her standing as the chair. She didn't deny them for any other real reason, I think, other than if we had so many votes, then she wouldn't be the chair again. So many, like if Joycey and I and, we get Georgia or whoever were voting for our people, she would lose her power somehow. I feel like it was all a manipulation and nothing was about the betterment of the town. So I would like to see, and I would like to stay on the cemetery committee to make sure that they follow the rules and regulations, that the agendas and meetings are submitted properly, Mary Lynn, and that everyone knows what's really going on. So I would like to see until a later date, when I feel like it's on the right path and doing the right things, then I'll resign. But until that date, I would like to stay on.
Thank you.
And the only requirement we have to volunteer for our group on our cemetery days is that you just have to be kind. And that's a direct reflection of how miserable it was last year.
Okay, thank you. Okay, board, what is your pleasure?
How does that leave the cemetery committee with the people we nominated last session?
Leaves us in a conundrum.
Well, I feel that this was not done legally, it was
Okay.
not warned. It shouldn't have happened. And being that there's people on the committee that didn't resign, that weren't even presented to us as wanting to be on the committee, was not appropriate either.
Now, and in the past, everybody was reappointed every year.
Did you all make that rule up? Because we don't reappoint all the other committees
No, we
in town.
The cemetery. No, back when Bunny was here, every year the select board would just reappoint people.
Well, we have not reappointed any of the other committees.
No, I know,
Um,
and that may be why some people aren't on them.
I have a question.
This is all news to me because I've been on the board for several years and we have never reappointed committees.
Yeah,
We went with you were on it until you were either removed or you resigned yourself.
So how were the names submitted in past years for reappointment? Were people asked that were serving
if they wanted to continue.
so were you asked if you wanted to continue?
No,
So this name,
I was told I
this
wasn't
list,
on the committee, actually.
I was
have-
told that you had resigned.
so the list just came from one person rather than polling people that were part of the committee this time?
And if you missed 3 meetings, you were automatically resigned.
That's what I wanted to say, because I was on committees years ago, and if you missed 3 meetings, you were automatically off,
3 in a row or 3 in the year?
3 in a row.
Cause Sandy, you missed quite a few last year. So would you be off?
Be fine. Yes.
Can I just say something that's a little bit removed?
Okay. Okay,
Okay, on the Conservation Commission, we're very loose about that. We say, we don't want this to be a burden because we need more members. And if you can't make it, you can't make it, and it's not an issue. But maybe the solution is that someone finds a rule that goes across all of the commissions and committees so that we can follow that.
right.
Cause I even sent a letter, Joyce brought it to Shelley to join the committee this year, and I haven't heard a word. And I did not know I had to come in front of the committee. All I was told was to write a letter why I wanted to be on the cemetery committee.
That's why I'd like to have the meeting, maybe the next cemetery committee,
And Georgia did also.
Yes, and Georgia did too.
Yeah.
because the next cemetery committee meeting is on the 22nd, and we're gonna be going to all the cemeteries, which is crazy, because you guys are doing it on the 24th.
Yes.
I'll tell you right now, the only cemetery I've been in is Pond Road. All my life I've lived in this town, off and on. I've never been in any of the other cemeteries. And I have relatives and friends that are buried up there. Most of mine are in Tyler, but
Most of mine too.
I have never been in any of the other cemeteries.
Well, you're welcome to join us on the 22nd.
At what time are you starting and which cemetery?
2 o'clock at South.
South.
Oh,
That's right by where Brandon lives.
I don't know.
You'll have to draw her a map. Draw her a map.
I do not know.
Let's see if we can resolve this.
Place to call.
So Jean, what do you see as a solution to your concerns? I guess, what do you have in?
The select board had decided a few years ago that anybody wanting to be on a committee had to, formally address us and come and meet us, which, I have the minutes from when Melissa was appointed. She came here, introduced herself, and as did Joyce, and both of them were appointed to the committee. So that has been the procedure. It's happened with Planning Commission, when they were getting a new person on, they've come and met us. And this was just kind of a slate that was handed to us, and some of the people I do not know. It just, and like I said, I feel like these things need to be properly warned. For one thing, it never should have been discussed because it wasn't on the agenda. To give people a chance, because I'll hear from people that say, they might see something on the agenda and come and ask me about it.
It's good.
You never want to discourage people from getting involved. So I don't, there's not enough seats for everybody that's on that committee. It's true. Because there's people on it that never left. And we have not, for all the years I've been on the board, reappointed committees every year. I never heard of such a thing, so.
So, we dissolve this thing similar to the fire department and then go through the interview process at the next meeting? I'm serious.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Jim?
With the requirements that they do it the same way we do all the committees, where if you're gonna take somebody on the committee, you bring it to the select board. If you're gonna remove somebody from the committee, you bring that to the select board. That's a select board action. It's the way we do the planning commission, at least
That's how it should be
ever
done.
since I've been there.
That's right,
That's how it should be done.
that's right.
And we did not do that with the Conservation Commission when one of our members quit. I wasn't aware of that.
It's called a learning.
If a
to
quit
let us
member,
know.
you should just come by the select board and say, hey, one of my people quit.
Notify
And
us.
just during the select board session.
I'll make sure I do that.
It also makes it easier on Shelley when she's trying to do the town report.
The town clerk would also need to know to remove that person from the
I
website. So
agree with
the
Brendan,
committee.
it's time to pull the belt on this and
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
reappoint it.
So I'll make that a motion. I move that we dissolve the cemetery committee, and, help me with the terminology, but start an interview process to reform the committee as soon as possible.
Anyone interested should submit a letter to the select board
Perfect.
and come and meet with us when we have it on our agenda to do appointments.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Are you seconding this motion?
Yeah.
Friendly amendment.
Let's go on and on here.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? You already done that.
All right, hold on a second.
Sir,
Mary Lynn? You muted, dear.
I think she just did it.
Yes,
All right. Your comments on the motion that's on the floor right now?
you don't want me to comment.
Yes, I do. I wouldn't have asked.
There was a notice that was put out that anyone that was interested to join the cemetery committee to contact me.
How is that put out? What was your method?
I put it out on the Vernon Facebook page.
That's not a legal notice.
Well, that's the way it's been done. And every year after town meeting, the select board in the past, I knew of no changes, has reappointed people to the committees. And I would like to ask why something's on the agenda that involves me that I wasn't informed of, except seeing the agenda, if you want to be so nitpicky. Answer?
For me?
Anybody?
I've never reappointed committees.
No, I'm asking about the agenda. Something that involves me, I was not informed of was even on the agenda. Why is that?
I have no idea. I don't inform everybody that's on the agenda.
It has ever worked as long as I've been on it. But you can disband and restart. I don't care. But I would like to know why cemetery committee appointments is on the agenda, which involves me, and I was not told it was on here.
Well, I asked to put it on there to have it addressed because I felt that the proceedings at the last meeting did not follow open meeting law, and that bothered me. It shouldn't have been done.
Why wasn't I informed?
I have no idea. I guess it's like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Somebody does. I mean, and then you allow me to be personally attacked and nobody says anything.
I never mentioned your name.
I didn't say you. Disband and start over. I don't care.
All right, thanks for your input.
any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Fire Department RAD 57 meter replacement. You have a thing here from Alex. Okay, I presume this is to test for carbon monoxide
Yeah. In the bloodstream.
on the bloodstream.
Yeah.
Oh, it's different.
Well, I'm reading his email. It's to replace their current non-functioning meter that detects carbon monoxide levels in the bloodstream. He's given us a couple of comparisons. They have a preference. For the one that's got the pediatric monitoring and protection plan. Which is
His email amount doesn't match the other.
I know. Wasn't the fire chief gonna be here to talk about this?
They have training Tuesday nights.
They have training.
Typically they have training Tuesday nights. I saw
Oh,
there's a
it's-
bunch of vehicles at the fire department.
It's the first one. There's a whole page, that amount, it matches.
5366.
that must have the
49,
rainbow something, and then it says PED,
Oh, the
that must be
49.
the
Yes, first.
pediatric.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
It's this one, Cindy,
Yeah.
this first one.
Without the picture.
Yep, that's the one without the. The total on the bottom.
And they have that in their budget for this, or where does that money come from?
It says they'd be overspending their new EMS equipment. And the rest of it being paid from their supply account.
When he says overspent, does he mean go into next year's?
No, it
That
just
just
means that
means-
it's more than they actually budgeted, but at the end of the year, their bottom line
Will be
should-
balanced, he'll
should
balance it
still
out.
be okay.
He'll balance it out somewhere else.
he's taking it out of two lines on the budget instead,
Okay.
supplies and equipment.
So what is your pleasure?
I have a question.
Sir,
Does this constitute a capital expense?
No.
it's not
No.
$10,000.
Not enough, right?
Right, because it's below 10 grand?
Right.
Yeah.
And then his current meter is not working, so that's why he's
Pushing
anxious to
for
replace
it.
it. And it's fine to overspend the line as long as he doesn't overspend the bottom.
Bottom line, yeah.
So he's asking for $4,946.
Yeah,
Call it 5,000.
yeah, I'm presuming that first page is the one he
Yeah.
was talking about, because he didn't put a amount in here. But that's the one that seems to have the pediatric part to it. Oh, no, it includes window RC. I don't know if that, maybe that does.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
That's what I get it from Sheriff's Glen.
Yeah, that's where it comes up with 4.9, it includes that rainbow.
yeah,
Which is for the pediatric portion, it seems like. At 450.
The 5,000 one has it too.
the second one has it,
Oh,
but it's a lot more. And the protection plan is add it on top of that.
Yep.
So it seems like the best. Wish he was here, I wanna do
Yeah,
the right thing that they want,
that's what he emailed. Instead.
but it appears that the first and second page are same thing, with the first one being a better price.
Well, it's not really that much difference when the other one comes up to 5,000, so
But I'm not sure that it's added in any protection plan.
that one has a 1 year.
1-year warranty, it says on
Both
that.
have 1 year
On the
warranty.
first one has a 1 year, and the second one has 2 years for 317 more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, more.
Mhm.
That, I don't think it's added in on that second one.
No, it's not.
So,
So, can we make a motion to approve up to $5,500? I mean, the fire department always does a really good job at, since I've been here, at
Right.
raising them.
Gonna do
Um,
the right thing.
doing the right thing, yeah,
Yeah,
and really
they do.
thorough research.
They
They
do a
usually
good job.
form a committee and do a really thorough research on this, so. Would that be an acceptable motion, Sandy, to approve up to $5,500 of the fire department budget for the purchase of this machine?
It would.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Old Growth Forest Network Registry. Try to say that fast. Okay, you're up.
Okay, so I reached out to Rebecca Chalmers with the question, to firm up what the buffer is, what the state sees the buffer as, and it's 50 feet. So then I wrote, an email to Sarah, who is the regional person who proposed the forest for old growth designation. And she is on vacation until tomorrow.
Okay.
So the timing was not ideal, and I'm waiting to hear. I basically just asked her if that would pose a problem. When we had the initial meeting, she said what we're doing, or what, you know, the rec department is doing right now, what the town is doing, has resulted in this this beautiful old growth forest, and she didn't see any reason why there would be a proposed to change the buffer for this, because it's being cared for so well right now. I still want to get a confirmation, a written confirmation to pass on to you, so that, I never saw the response from the rec board other than they were opposed to changing the buffer.
Right.
And I didn't know if there's anything else included with that response. We're kind of operating without that piece, if they have any other concerns. I guess what I'm asking is if Sarah says it's okay, that 50 feet's okay, and I can get you that email, can we proceed with that? Without hearing from the rec, because they're not being communicative with me.
I think that was their only concern in the letter we got, was that it be 50 feet and no more.
Yeah. I think if there was any other
Yeah, that
concerns, they
was-
would have,
Yeah,
they would have brought it up.
And by proceed, I mean just set up a day when they can present us with the plaque, and perhaps have a walk with the county forester through the town forest for the town.
Board, what is your pleasure?
I guess I'd like to see the response
Yep.
before I make any plans.
Okay, we'll table it till we get a response.
All right,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. I have to get used to things taking a long time.
It's a process.
You were in the military, you know the drill.
Raising
Okay,
4 kids, I know the drill.
town admin report, you're up.
Okay, very brief. The federal report for the ARPA funds expended and allocated was completed on April 23rd. It had to be completed by the end of the month. So that's done, and the NEMR cash receipts module will be installed next week, and training will be on Tuesday, so we're very excited to get that in place. And that's all I have.
Okay, we need an executive session. This is on personnel. Who do Kathy and Shelley.
So are we going in for the appointment or employment or evaluation, or are we, okay. So Madam Chair, I move that we go into executive session for the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee, and include the town administrator and
And the treasurer.
the treasurer.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are in executive session as of 7:16. Okay, we went into executive session at 7:16. Came out at 7:46. No action was taken. Jean.
I move that we sign the employment letter from the town of Vernon.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll pass it down to you folks.
Do we have to talk about the rates or just the number of hours?
Just sign the contract.
Agree to sign
And that's it.
contract with them.
Is this all signed here too?
Those are mine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do we have a motion?
I'm wondering whether or not we can just motion the number of hours, or do we have to include the rate?
No, you don't.
So,
Just
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we contract with Emmerich for 96 hours, starting on 04/01/2025 and go to 03/31/2026.
Is there a second?
second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Just pass that to Shelley, please. Does anybody have anything else to bring up? That was a fearsome look.
I'm like, did I forget anything?
Whatever you say, Jean.
You won't hear from me for the next month. My voice is gonna be left at Dartmouth for a month. But I got a text-to-speech routine on this thing, so I just type it in and it's bite me or whatever.
Oh, boy.
That's gonna be a rough month.
Oh, dear.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's not debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.
We wish you the very best.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Get that.
Pretty routine.
Oh,